background noise here. This is just what we could do right after the Boston meetup. Can I get some confirmation that you guys can hear and you guys can talk?
I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear Alex. I can hear Marky Mark.
Okay, great.
Hey, it's Matt here.
Hi, Matt.
So,
Hey, Matt.
Patrice, are you planning on speaking? Okay, well, my main thing here is that BidBots have taken quite a bit of negative press recently, and I happen to think that there's some pretty nice things about them. And I wanted to give us all a chance to sort of just talk through how we could talk about the benefits of these, how we could make them better, and how we can provide some transparency of this group working to solve a collective platform where both the thought or the fear is that people are just using BidBots to upvote shit content, and it's reward pool raping, and it's causing all kinds of harm. And so I wanted to get us all kind of in a room so we could start working out how can we run them better, what do we need to do to be better like investors and business owners on the platform, and what can we do to improve the situation for people that want to use them and use them well.
I think it gains off a bit, Aggroed, because you're coming in really harsh and tinny.
Is this a little better for you, Mark?
A little bit. It's hurting my ears a bit. It's kind of like you're in a tube or something.
I'm trying to prevent a little bit about the background noise that's here.
That's actually a little bit better what you just did.
Anyway, so hopefully you guys could hear me, and hopefully you can provide some insight on what you think we can do as a community to try to make this experience better for people.
Okay. First of all, we shall all collaborate with Steam Cleaners. I see Patrice is here, and from start on we shall collaborate with them so that we see if our bot is somebody that spams or is on the blacklist, shall not be able to vote or to cast a vote on him. That will be the first step.
Along with that, do you guys want to introduce yourselves at all and talk about your bot? You don't necessarily have to, but if you'd like to identify who you are and what you run, that could be good. I'm Aggroed. I run 2 BidBots. I run MSP-BidBot, and I run Love Juice, neither of which have terribly much power on them, but I think they serve a purpose in helping minnows and promoting the minnow support project.
I am Alexan. I'm with the team of Boomerang. I don't run it, I'm not the developer of it, but I'm in the team and I do some of the communication for it. And Boomerang was built just as an investment tool and as a promotional tool for the minnows. And so everybody, the share of the profit is split between the investors. Nobody is taking more share than others. Marky? No, nobody?
Sorry, my wife just walked in and I didn't want to turn the mic hot. I run Build a Whale. This is a Marky Mark. It also has a curation aspect to it, as well as a few other things. So that's who I am.
Hey, I'm Matt. Yeah, Matt. It's my. I run the Steam Bot Tracker website, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. Additionally, recently I've been running the small BidBot called Post Promoter test promoter BidBot software. So one of the things I've realized recently is pretty much everyone's using the same Dr. Otto software, and there was really nothing else available, at least open source. So if you guys want to check out and help test some new software, let me know.
Okay. Boot Tracker, also known for some of the ex-boot owners, Boot Killer.
Yeah, I mean, since it started, bots have just blown up, honestly. So
Yeah.
there's about
But
when I
not
started, there was like 3 or 5 bots on there, and now there's over 20, I think. So be killing them too badly.
it killed at least one, but better so.
You talking about Belly Rub? He killed it himself.
He was greedy, that's why, because he just tried to.
He was selling votes and self-voting since I've been on the platform. Ever since I've seen him, that's why I stopped using him ages ago. I have documentation for months that he was just whacking himself for 100% votes, and then the window's going out of whack. So he had other issues.
Yeah, I know. Talked about it, but in private. Not the time to this.
Hi, this is Bloomis, and I run a appreciator bot. Can we really get down to the business so we can discuss the ethical guidelines for every bot owner to be maintained by everyone?
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to end up forcing people to go do anything. I don't think that we even have the power to do that. But I do think that we should have the discussion of what does it look like? How do we do that the right way?
Exactly, I fully agree with you because every bot is different and every bot has its special things and targets for the audience for Steemit, because Steemit is getting bigger every day. So every bot is different. Okay, we have some guidelines which we shall follow, but you cannot impose something on a bot owner.
So what do you guys think that we should be doing, or how can we run these things better to be more ethical? I've heard talks of whitelists, blacklists. I keep thinking that rep limits, the reputation limits going towards rewards or how much you can vote might make sense.
Oh, reputation is very hard to get because some new users maybe made a mistake at the beginning. They are not seen. If they made a mistake, they are just, you cannot see them on the wall anymore. And their only chance is with a bit bot to get seen. As I see the bots as promotional tools, not as an income generator. Okay, now we have a lot of snipers who are trying to get a very good vote from the bots, but bots shall be only used as a promotional tools. Or your bots, like the Mino support project, to help Mino increase their value. Yeah, but this is very small, very few steps. Most now are just trying to get a very big vote from the bots. And
Yeah,
this
it's all
is not the
cash
purpose.
what they see it as.
Yeah, that's not the purpose of it. It's just a promotional tool. You get 50, you just jump into trending in some tags, and people shall grow your follower base. Both need it.
You were saying, Marky?
No, I was just saying that it's pretty much, they're seen as cash machines is pretty much what they're being used as, regardless of what they were made for. That's pretty much the general conception right now, is use them as cash machines, and that's about it.
I had a thought in that regard that perhaps instead of a bidding system, I really like the way Minnow Booster's working now, where it's just a flat, like, this is the return you will get, period. There's no or bidding or anything. I think there, it wouldn't be too hard, and I might play around with it with Post Promoter as a experiment. Just every 2.4 hours or whatever, once it gets up to the point where you'll get a set return, say, 15% return after curation, bids, and just starts voting at that point. So that's what it is. It's guaranteed. You send in your money, you'll get that return on it. And if it can't give you that return, you get a refund, kind of just like Minnow Booster. I don't know if that would end up being a problem for the bot owners as far as revenue. I mean, it would at least smooth out the revenue so they'll know exactly what they're getting. might just reduce all these concerns about people just trying to get humongous returns and being annoyed when they don't, or even getting negative returns. What do you guys think about that?
I can't speak for other bot owners. I can see what they're getting on the bot tool, but for the most part, most of my bidding windows are profitable for the end users. The bot, your bot window has more control over my business than anything else in the platform, even what I can do. So a lot of people see what the profitability scale is and they vote accordingly. And most of the time, I'd say 9 out of 10 windows, they take it to the point where it's profitable and leave it. They don't go further. But there's other ones like Booster and Belly Rub that they always go further. Booster has 500 people that front run the bid, so there's a lot of value add there that people take advantage of. So they'll bid higher than what the bot tracker says. Belly Rub, same thing, but I don't know the reasoning behind that. I think that's part of the Zeratul putting bids in himself, which he used to do as well under different names. But that was always going over. But for the most part, most other bots really stop at the 75% or less. So, I mean, most of the time people are profitable, so I don't see that being a problem. Almost always, I see the bid windows are profitable. There's like 1 out of every day that it's not profitable, and that's when somebody makes a huge bid or are not using the tracker, but most people are using a tracker. I mean, there's a 2-hour, 40-minute window, and almost every time, 90% of the bids are in the last 5-10 minutes. So you can tell everyone's using the tracker.
Right. That's also why I was thinking, if it's just like this is the return you're going to get, period, and then I guess again this is more looking from the user side. They wouldn't have to, deal with bid windows and all that stuff. They send a bid.
Yeah, but this is then another type of boat. So
Right.
here
Yeah.
are mostly bid boaters, and these are like minnow boosters. You know what you're getting in front. For our bot, the investor doesn't know what he will get. He knows he will get the fair amount of share that everybody's getting.
Yeah,
Like
but
I will not get more. I will not get more than somebody else who invested, even if I do some post or something else. The reward is split between the investors, and
yeah, but Mike, you
it's seen
cannot
every hour.
compare bid bots with instant vote bots like Randoville. They are different, and Booster is different. So bidding windows, like you mentioned, your tracker works. Many users use it in last 15 minutes, and some of them really get what they bid on.
So the conversation is also happening in the MSP Waves audience chat channel. So if there are a couple people that are saying there are things that they don't like about BidBots, or they just don't like BidBots at all, can you guys raise a couple objections as to why you're frustrated by them? And then maybe we can start brainstorming ways to go address those.
I can address one of those on the other side because this is the last bid window for myself. And everyone complains, oh, it's not profitable and whatever. That was the last bid window, and you could see it was hella profitable. And that's 9 out of 10 bid windows for Build a Whale. I mean, the same with most of them. The bid tool has curbed it so people don't vote blindly. So they hate that, oh, it's unpredictable or you're not going to get a return. People are using these things as cash machines and in putting in a bid and almost always getting money back. It's an advertising tool, and nowhere in advertising do you ever see, hey, I'll pay you $10, give me $20 back, and advertise my shit. I mean, that's just insanity. And unfortunately, that's the mindset, and that's what's been ironed into everybody. And then the build tool basically enforces that entitlement. But regardless, it's still 90% of the time, it's a profitable experience right in the instant you make the bid and get the vote. 9 out of 10 times you will make a return, so I don't see why all the hate about all bid bots are evil. And for myself, I owe 40,000 Steam a month to pay for the Steam power. Ron Donson said, oh, it should be a cost thing. So I'm supposed to stake $40,000 of Steam on a hugely high risk investment that chances are I'm going to lose in the end. in basically break even or lose money. As it is, it's a struggle just to break even to pay that rent. We're not even talking about, hey, I'm making all profit because I own the stake. I don't own any of the stake. So it's basically just renting it. So everything I get goes back into paying rent. It's not like I have 2 million steam power that I own and I don't pay for, and it's all profit. If that's the case, then I'd make a shit ton. But it's not the case. And I think a lot of people, I know Appreciator is leasing off of the similar amount, and it's all leased. So those are not, all those bids are not profit. Those things go into a pool, and then I pay rent every week. So um, I don't understand it, but hey, 90% of the time it's profit. You could just check every single window. It's all a public blockchain. It's all publicly available. So, I mean, it shows that 90% of the time people are profitable. So I can even post my bid windows if people enjoy looking at that. These are the bid windows I've had for the last 3 days. You can see every time it's, I think it's above 140, 150 is where it stops breaking even. And anything below that is profitable for everybody. So you could see that I'm not killing it. And every time it goes below 128, I lose money. I can't pay rent. So you could do the math. It's all publicly available and you could see it. So it's not like these evil bid bots are making a killing, except for the people that own the stake. But then again, everyone says it's your stake. You use it how you want. It's the same thing. It goes both ways. It goes in every direction. And so I mean, it's all out there. It's all publicly available.
See, I think some of the problem here is that the perception is that these things are only used to upvote shit posts.
I completely agree. And I run a curation digest that we go and pick 5 things every day. And I go through 400 to 600 posts a day. And it is a pain in the ass to find anything because most of it is shit post. The problem is I don't have the manpower or the resources to fix that. That's Steam Cleaner's job. They have 1 million stake to do that. And that's not even enough to handle it. I don't have any stake that I don't pay for. I can't afford to spend 40,000 Steam to use that stake to flag the system. I mean, I can't do that. I can't afford it. I'd be broke within a month or within a week. And to find anything that's good, there's a lot of crap. But then once you say, okay, I'm going to start removing the crap, now you have a full-time job where you're working full-time and you're going to have to remove 80 to 90% of Steam in general, not even through the bid bots, just in everything. You have this one guy, Traffic Monitor, that just asked Freedom for a few 100,000 Steam power. If you look at his blog, he's posted in the last 30 minutes, he has like 12 posts. I mean, that's Steam. That's how Steam it's run. I mean, 90% of it is like that. Unfortunately, the good quality content is 10% of Steam. And it doesn't matter. It's not the bid bots problem. It's the stuff that's being submitted. And unfortunately, you have to take your stake and sacrifice it to fix that because there's nothing coming from Steam that's going to fix that. There's no big enough stake out there that's dedicated to fix this problem that can handle the amount of trash that's out there.
Well, I know that some of the witnesses have talked about having like a downvote pool that is separate from your upvote pool. I worry that might scare a bunch of new users, but that might be one way to go flag crap content down so that if people actually like create a shit post, purposely use the bots to go upvote its value, that would be a way to go counter that.
Yeah, there's talks in the private Slack about that. There's some also discussions of why that wouldn't work. But there's also a lot of talks of a lot of people building their own flag bots. I know of a few people with a large enough stake that are basically considering doing that. I have my own as well now that I'm thinking about powering up to do that as well. But I mean, it's an endless battle. And for me, when I look through the queue to find curation or to do the author rewards and stuff like that, it's hell. But the moment I say, okay, I'm going to start flagging and I'm going to start blacklisting or anything like that, you've just basically said, okay, that's what you're going to do. And it's just impossible. It's not even, you can't even make a dent, much less solve the problem.
Yeah, but
and that's really the real problem is not.
Who tells us what's a crap post and what's not?
Some of it's subjective, and that's a problem. I get things reported to me, and I can't blacklist anything or remove our vote unless I'm 100% sure it's either plagiarized or it's unethical or something without a certain doubt. If I'm questionable, I can't do it.
What's ethical? Because some guys are vaxxers or anti-vaxxers, and that's one example.
That's very subjective. I have an opinion on it, but I can't.
Yeah, that's
blacklist based on that.
I blacklist everything. We blacklist everything with Patrice. Like, please use this tool that I post now. That's the most good you can do. If you see a post that's plagiarized or stolen from somewhere or identity theft, use this. Or talk directly to Patrice or an abuse channel. Just flag them and report them. That's the best thing we can do. Also, as bot runners. Also, we managed to block some guys that were really abusing it. Like Boomerang is not voting everything that has cheetah in it as a comment or a vote. From cheetah or the blacklist, or now the new bot from Patrice.
The problem is that's not perfect. The problem is you get people that do, like with our Curation Digest, we used to get cheated because we have a similar template. A lot of contests that people are trying to promote contests, they get flagged by cheetah, and it takes a while for that to not happen. So it's not 100% accurate to do that. But now it's a concern of mine.
But it helps a little bit. It just filters the first line. It filters, and we have also added, because Patrice has a new bot. Just add the bots if you see a vote from cheetah or blacklist or what's the new bot? One second.
MacBot.
From the MacBot, just add them to the bot, and if you see some bidders from some bits from with these comments or votes from these bots, just refund it. And say you are blacklisted, you cannot vote, and just refund them the money, because you don't want to take the money from someone that, because you're not a stealer, you just want to and if you cannot bring up the service, just refund the money.
Right, but again, it's not very black and white, because when you refund people, the bid tool has a big factor in it. Like I said, that has more control of the business. So when somebody makes a bid and it goes in there and it gets refunded, people bid accordingly. So if they make a $50 bid, for example, and then we have to refund it, that bid window just got $50 smaller, and people will bid around that $50 and won't go over that threshold. Now, when we go to refund it, that comes right out of rent money.
Yeah, that's
fixed some of them, but there's still issues. And then he would have to add like the MacBot, the cheetah, and all the new things that come up, and it's a never-ending catch-up game to do that.
Well, hey, can I comment on that here? So as I mentioned, I'm writing a new BidBot tool. One of the goals of that would have it be able to automatically report to the bot tracker. So that way, if any BidBot that's using that refunds a post, it would report that to the bot tracker. So the bot tracker should be 100% accurate for any bots using that code. I mean, I'd love for other code to do that, but I don't know Ruby and work on Dr. Autobot. I'd be happy to do that, but I want to get the bot tracker to be 100% accurate, so you don't have that problem.
Can you automatically tie that new tool to like the blacklist or possibly even a whitelist, or give things like the option so that before you're allowed to spend more than 20 or even $10 on buying a bid, that you have to have a certain reputation level? Because reputation might be able to go solve some of these things. Maybe not for small bids, because you want minnows, especially the ones that they mentioned that might have negative reps because they start kind of dumb on the platform. But if there are ways that you can like change it so that you can't get higher votes until you've reached a certain reputation threshold, then there are easier tools built in for the BidBot owners to say, we're going to stop some of this crap content.
Well, if I understand you correctly, I want to do it kind of the opposite way. Ideally, I don't want the bot tracker to be deciding, to be trying to figure out what the bots are doing. I want to make it so the bot code literally just tells the bot tracker exactly what they're doing. So whatever the bot owners want to do, I don't really care, show accurately.
Two things I see with that is not all the bots are going to work with that. And not all the bots are going to have to figure out how to code that. The other problem is a lot of the bids are in the last few minutes, and you don't have the resolution to be able to do that. Like a lot of the bids are in the last 30 seconds, and I really doubt you'll be able to accurately depict that when people are bidding at the last second and it's coming in and trying to update the tool. I think that's going to be a difficult problem. It's because it's a 2-hour, 40-minute window, but people are only bidding the last few minutes. So I think that might be difficult. But
the problem you brought up is refunding a big. So you're saying if you do the refund after the bid window, if a $50 bid comes in right
whether
at
or
the
not you
end.
do it before or after, it doesn't matter. But most of the time, it's going to come in after.
But if
Because
if the bid comes in right at the end, are you saying you're going to refund it manually?
I don't do refunds right now because
No,
we were
I know
doing
in
20
theory.
refunds a day, and it was all user error. It was affecting the windows in a lot of different reasons. And then we have the pre-vote club where we have 30 plus people voting ahead of time, which doesn't get factored into the bid tool at all, and doesn't get refunded either. So we had to stop that. And
Talking about automatic refunds, right? So if there's a blacklist or someone submits a $50 bid, funded automatically right away for whatever reason, then that should show accurately in the bot tracker.
for the
And I don't think the bid bot owner should have to do.
for the first 2 months, I didn't refund anything automatic. It was all manual.
No, and I don't think bid bot owners should have to do manual refunds. I mean, the bot should be able to do automatic refunds for when the bid bot owner feels it's appropriate.
That's the other thing, Michael. But it's hard to tell what's spam and what's not. And when you look at something, even if you look at one thing, somebody might post a meme that's a joke or whatever, and it looks like spam. But then if you look at the rest of their stuff, they're not a spammer. They just happen to do one shit post. And it's not as easy to identify spam because you do have to look. And then you have another case where something looks completely stolen, plagiarized. And I was talking to Patrice about this the other day. But then you're not 100% sure if the site that they plagiarized it from is their own site. And at first we thought it was, but then when you start looking at it, you can't be 100% sure. When you remove a big vote, you have to be 100% sure whether or not that's plagiarized. And that's the other issue.
I don't think the bot owners should really be necessarily having to deal with this issue. I mean,
I don't think so either.
Spam and shit posts, they're going to happen whether or not there are bid bots. So I mean, my focus is kind of on how to work as best as possible for the good posts and the minnows that want to use them. And yeah, they'll get used for bad things, just like will happen in Steam, regardless of whether or not they're bid bots. But I'm trying to not focus on that as much because there's no real solution for it. That's Steam.
I completely agree there. Unfortunately, that's the biggest complaints about Steam. And unfortunately, you get rid of bid bots, it doesn't change the problem. It's still 90% spam.
And
That's the platform.
The voting, the like vote buying happened before there were bid bots. It just wasn't transparent. It was all through direct messages on Telegram, Slack, and Discord, and people were purchasing votes, but you would never know it.
And a lot of people have agreements to do it like every single post or whatever too.
Yeah, that's why Ned undelegated of some of his delegation because the guys just started selling votes, and they're doing also now.
He just did it because it was public.
Yeah,
I think he was okay with it.
Because it was public, and now it's Utopian appeared.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
I'm not agreeing with Cable on the correction is the theory of the whole point of investing in the platform. No, we have some investors that invested in our bots that just doesn't have the time to do it. They just like 50 or 100K inside because they are really abused inside. Okay, I believe in crypto, I believe in Steemit, but I don't have time to curate. So the ones who have a lot of time, but there are some investors who bring up the price of Steemit up if they buy, because let's face it, who puts 100,000 K in Steemit? They have to have a list of a ROI back. Want to have the price of Steam high, We need investors, people that pour money in, fiat money in. We cannot say because money is not made of something and the value is not given by something that just, okay, I write my beautiful post, I'm getting some, I'm creating money. This post comes somebody that have some investment in the site. Yeah, creation is a part of it, but it's not the only part.
Hey,
Not the whole
Claiborne,
point
I
of-
want to address your thing about bot owners or witnesses. I think that's a good thing. I mean, would you rather have witnesses that are acting honestly and transparently, or would you rather have the vote circle jerks that ask ask questions, funny gifts, and all those other ones are doing, or belly rub or zero tool type of thing? I mean, you can have you could do that as well, and they already are doing it.
I mean, I want to give an example of how I used a BidBot for good. I put together a post that is about a Steam panel discussion. It's now trending, and the only reason why I was able to get it trending as quickly as I did is because I was able to go I purchased a bid from Appreciator, I purchased a bid from Build a Whale, and just between those two, I was able to enter trending. Now some 300 people have seen this post, and hopefully it's going to make that panel discussion even better. So from a promotional standpoint, I have a test case in trending right now that can show how this thing is supposed to work and how it can be helpful.
Just nailed it. That's the point of the BitBot as a promotional tool.
Right. So there was a good comment in the chat from Inquiring Times that, is the reason that everyone's running this type of bid bot just because that's the only easily available open source bot to run? Maybe there's a better alternative. Maybe it's something like I suggested where it works like MinnowBooster. Maybe it's something different where if that was open source and easy to run and available, that might be a better option. What do you guys think about that?
We chose this bot, but we modified it a lot because it was missing blocks. It was we worked a lot on the code, and we just have to check it because we have to try it. We just check the vote 4 or 5 times in the loop. If the vote was casted, also if the comment went through 3 times. So for us, it's the most economical advantage to be 24 hours online. Because, okay, Booster has a big team behind it. A lot of developers. It's also, from economical point of view, it was the best thing to do. Because the code was also reworked from inertia. It was a very good code, but we need to rework it for what we were using it.
Right. So I'm saying if there was a good code base that worked well, available open source that worked, like say MinnowBooster works, where it's not a bid system, it's just you get a certain payout, guaranteed. Otherwise, you get refunded.
We had to add a lot of code for it because we have the base code for the bot, but for our bot, for Boomerang, we do send we split the SPD every round and send it every round to all the delegators. This was the major thing, to check the blocks, the blocks that were inside, to put them in, and then send out every round the money to the investors. That was the main thing to do. Also to check if the money was out. It was like the inertia code was only a minor part of the whole code.
The reason why
it's the problem that all that work had to be done. Sorry, go ahead.
Hey Matt, a reason why MinnowBooster could do what they do is because they had a large stake from Freedom for Free, and then they also pay less for bids or votes because they have other people doing it and they get a small portion of that. They don't get the whole voting power, so they have an arbitrage that they can take advantage of. People like me, I have to pay rent, and it's not profitable or even break even or sustainable to basically give away all the money and not expect anything back.
And yeah, of course, I have to agree with you. Okay, our bot is different. We have to convince some investors to buy on Steam. One of our strongest investors has just bought Steam only for the BitBot. and he gets his share every round. So we are not like Marky here, because Marky has issues if he doesn't pay for the rent. But we just split everything. I'm not making money on it. I'm making only what I delegated to the bot. That's my fair share of it. Bot developers have delegated, and they get only what they've delegated to the bot. The power of the bot comes if there are more investors for our bot. For Marky, it's obvious. He needs to sell the vote so that he can pay the rent, and what comes after is his job. The Aggroed is something different. He's doing with MSP. There's another bot.
Ron Donson, being on trending is definitely promotion. It was never the intention to be used that way. The reason why I have a $200 vote is not so people can get $100 votes out of it. It's because there's just so much demand and not enough supply. So what I was doing is when I started, I had 20K, and it was basically filling up, and people were getting screwed. So I went to 32K. People were getting screwed, so I went to 50K. Then I went to 217, 470, 950, and then to 2 million. And it was because every time I had less, the windows were getting filled and people were losing money. And I was trying to solve that problem. And now that I have 200, people are basically abusing it and putting in $50 bids, $100 bids, and all that stuff and getting on trending. And the problem is it's shit post a lot of the time. So it's two different things going on there. But that's not how it was intended. I didn't get a $200 vote because I want to see how much I can push a single post up. No, acquiring times. I'm gonna say something, and I'm probably gonna regret this, but it does. If people have a great post, not everyone's gonna read it anyways. That's a big thing about Steam is a lot of people don't read anything. It doesn't matter what you write. There's only a small percentage of people that actually read and actually engage. A lot of it is just to game the system, to make money, to use these things as cash machines, and just basically churn out content with zero effort, as little effort as possible. And that's about it.
And Claiborne is not sharking, because all the guys that play for the bid votes mostly get more than they paid for. It's not sharking.
Exactly. I don't know why.
That's if you don't want to use a bid bot, don't use it. Point. Because Steam it is big, they have 200,000, 300,000 accounts. You will not interact with everybody from the site. That's of course. You will see. I've interact with about 500 accounts. A lot to say 500 accounts. Like I give some vote or something to 500 accounts. But sharking is too much said.
Hey, Ron Donson, what do you mean by that? If being in trending is promotion, is no question it's promotion. But what are you actually asking? Should it happen? Is that what you're asking? Because there's no question getting on trending is going to get you a lot more votes, a lot more followers, and all that stuff. So there's definitely promotion.
Yeah,
but if
Marky,
you have
seems like the
post,
audio's off.
Okay.
But if you have a shit post, nobody's gonna vote for it. So even if you promote it, if it's not coming from a legit user and doesn't have a good content, nobody will vote on it. Like Aggroed used 2 bots, like Appreciator and Build-A-Well. Content is good. Everybody knows him, the stuff he's doing. So yeah, he got more visibility for it.
And when I started on the platform, I mean, you know, I made a couple posts. No one read it. I maybe got 2 followers. You know, weren't probably even real followers. I used the bid bots. I didn't get on trending, but you know, I just did a little bit, like $10. And then I started to get followers. And it was like, you know, 10, 20 times the amount of followers just from doing that. So it's clearly promotion.
Helps. Because look, we have, if you go to the trend, to the new post, you have 10, 15 posts made in the last minute. You do a refresh, there's a new post. Good luck to being seen by that as a new minnow. Nobody will see you. you might get lucky that block trade hits you once if you get the hour that she's online, or some big whale likes the post, even if it's 0, but mostly will not watch on it. The difficulty to be seen will grow in time because there are so many new accounts. And if Steam is going to be like Facebook, let's hope for it, then good luck with being seen. You will have to get your friends from real life to vote on your stuff and get some investment from that, because then it's going to be only DAS votes.
What I want to do is make, again, not focus so much on the bad things that are happening or the bad uses of bots, because that's going to happen regardless, and that's a Steam problem more than a bot problem. What I'd like to focus on is making the bots easier to use for new people who are coming on. So instead of getting discouraged that they get no followers and no one reads their posts, they see, oh, hey, if I invest, $10 or something, I can start building a following and get my content seen. That's what I want to try to do. So that's really the goal behind the bot tracker, is to make these available, visible, and easier to use for people.
Yeah, I tend to agree that if more people were using them, then you would outcompete the shit posters. And especially those that choose to go spend $100 to go up a post because there is some profit on it. If it's just a shit post, if we also, as a community, figure out some guidelines over what should be flagged and what shouldn't be flagged, then we actually have a pretty good chance to downvote shit posts, even if people paid to advertise them. And if more people are using them, then hopefully we'll have more high quality content sitting through trending.
One thing also that could help this problem would be to have a max bid on the bid bots. So you have a min of 1 SBD, maybe you have a max of 10 SBD. Then it kind of takes away the ability to just get on trending, and would make it more for just smaller users to promote in a smaller way. Now, I know that would probably be a problem now as far as profitability bots, so I understand why they wouldn't do that. But in theory, if there's lots and lots of smaller users spending a little bit.
No, I'm not saying that. Sorry, I'm saying to Claiborne, no. I'm not saying that they need to use bitbots, but it makes life easier.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trick is to have options, right? And so the software that we have right now through Dr. Otto is a very neat starting point, but it seems to lack some of the technical things that would be helpful to this community, of automatically including Steam Cleaner's blacklist, of providing providing minimum and maximum bids up until you've either been whitelisted or some other reason, or you have a significant rep to do it. I mean, I think things like that will make it harder for shit posters to take advantage of this thing, and I think it will make it easier for good content that might not be part of a whale-back community to go find its way either into trending or just get more legs on the platform.
Yeah, Claiborne, but here is a discussion about bitbots, not about how we fix Steam it. Most of us are not witnesses. We are not doing hard forks. I did some contributions on GitHub, and they were just not seen.
I mean, I think part of the problem here is that when I look at the #1 challenge on the platform, the #1 challenge to me is the distribution. That like 1% of the 1% of the users control 93% of the Steam. So the way to fix curation is to have a million different curators and like a really thorough middle class and a nice strong distribution through all the different people on the platform. But that's like, we are as far away from that as we could possibly be. And so the the number one fix to me for curation would actually be a better distribution on the platform than pouring all of our collective wealth into the hands of 25 people, in part because I just don't frankly believe that 25 people can curate well on behalf of a platform of 25,000 active users or 30,000 active users.
Distribute it.
Well, my favorite option for that is we have a platform inflation, currently 9% and falling, of the curation goes into the post rewards, like the author rewards, the curation rewards, some to interest and some to witnesses. And if we increase that, we would basically dilute the stake of the highest percentage owners on the platform and pour that into the people that are creating content, which is what we're doing currently, but it's at 9% and it's falling. And I think that if we want to fix curation, it should be at maybe 10 or 15%. It's not like I'm advocating some massive difference, but it just freaks me out that the curation or that platform interest is going down, because it's going to mean that there's less downward pressure creating sort of a better distribution on the platform. So that would be my number one thought on how to fix that.
Yeah, I just wonder how much of that inflation is going back to that 1%. Stake weighted, rewards, basically. So, if they're leasing SP to other people, then they're getting paid for that. So it's just going back to them.
That market was created a long time ago, and that market's not going anywhere. Whether or not bid bots exist, the whales are going to sell a delegation because they don't want to participate in the platform. They just want their 100% APR for the zero effort, and that's not changing regardless of whether it's bid bots or shit posters. I mean, that's just how it works right now.
That's how the world is built. Somebody invests it and expects a ROI on it.
And I don't think the people that invest and do that we should demonize, because as much as people are frustrated that they're allowing like a weird distribution of post rewards, this place already has a weird distribution of post rewards. But what we want is investors. I mean, if you want your content to make money, you need people to buy this Steam. And if you're not the one that's holding 50,000, 100,000, or 200,000 Steam or something, we need other people to come in here and buy it. And so if they can find a reason to do that and a reason to hold it and a reason to invest, if you change the name from Evil Whale to Crypto Investor, we want our crypto investors holding on to Steam, then maybe I think that changes the tone of that discussion some.
Yeah,
I agree, because if it wasn't for the investors, it'd be no platform. But
be
then again,
worthless.
if that was the case, the minnows would have more power too as well. It goes in both directions.
No, I have 6,000 Steam power and I power up. Let's not take it very much to the left side. Everybody that invests is bad. No. If you add a little bit of value and you buy a little bit of Steam, you're just adding to the price of Steam going up. But it's another discussion. We are talking now about bitbots now, not about how to fix the platform, because this is not the point of the discussion. We can help improve it, yes, with the bitbots and what we are doing, but we are not deciding the hard forks.
Yeah, but I think having a discussion about whether these things are like fixed curation and being mad at BidBot, I mean, I think that that opinion is not held just by Clay. I think there's a lot of people in this community that look at BidBots and say, this is the thing that's distorting all of this. I mean, I look at this and I think, it's 5% of the overall Steam. Like, this is not the thing that's completely distorting post rewards on the platform. That's more of communities that really only vote on one another. That's more of like some vote buying that's happened behind the scenes. I mean, I don't think that it's BidBots that's ruining everything. Again, it's a small 5% of the platform. And I think curation as a whole, and really because of distribution as a whole, But I do think talking about the optics or the perceptions of it is all BidBot's fault is something that we ought to talk about and say, well, I'm not sure that that's true. And actually, we like having investors. Maybe we shouldn't like yell at the investors for being on the platform and finding a way to get a return.
Exactly. That's also my point on it. Because yeah, if you want to not edit anything.
Well,
I
Clay,
was out. Sorry.
Clay,
Yeah,
hold on, because I want to address this too. The way that the platform works is that if you're a minnow and you author, you really don't get any rewards. That's just like inherent to the platform. If you're a dolphin and you start authoring, you can make rewards, and if you're a whale, you can make rewards. But at some point, if you have enough steam, it makes absolutely no sense to keep posting because at a single click, you can make $80 or $100, whereas it's going to take you an hour of work to go like put together a post and do all this other thing. Your like hourly wage as a whale is exponentially higher for curating than it is for creating new posts. So inherent to this system is that as you get more SP, your time is better spent clicking things than authoring things. And that's part of where, telling them to just add different value or coming in differently, I don't see how that's going to work because the entire platform is built around, the whales are the ones that are able to go make big votes and they get rewarded when they do that.
The problem I see is a lot of the whales are AFK. They're just either selling their steam power or they're not using it or they're got circle jerks set up that are taking advantage of it. There's very few active whales that are engaged in the community. And that, I think, is a big problem.
So where does that come from? Why do you think they're doing that?
Because it's lucrative and the faith in Steam right now is very low. And it's easier to do that. Look at the post from Snowflake about 2 weeks ago where he said that he would like to upvote this post, but it's more profitable for him to sell his vote to Minnow Booster, so that's what he does. And it was more of a making a point type of thing. But that's kind of where the state of the game has been. It's just a lot of people that have a lot of stake. It's not economical to actually engage in a platform and do stuff. It's better just to automate or go off and sell it or whatever.
The best return, and I've looked into this, and I made a post about it recently on the platform, is to just go comments or whatever and just upvote them 100% that no one will ever see. That's the best way to make a return.
And that's what a lot of them do.
That's the problem.
That's why we turned off comments. A lot of people do that. They do it at 6 hours and 6 days and 11 hours before anyone sees it disappear. And that's the post I made yesterday about David Ding and his circle. He would go into introduce yourself and do that exact same thing. And there's a lot of people that do that. If you look, you'll find a lot of people doing that.
Most profitable thing to do, honestly. Like I've made a relatively large investment in Steam, for myself. And I'm like, what the best thing for me to do is just write a simple little bot that makes a dumb post every 2 hours or comments on a post. That's it. that's it. That's the best return I can get.
Yeah, the advantage is people don't see it, and there's very little curation rewards. There's curation rewards and comments, but no one will upvote another comment usually for curation rewards. So that is where the money's to be made. And unfortunately, if you look around, you will see that a lot of people are doing that, and it goes under the radar. And that's what the thing I reported yesterday was doing is they wait to the last minute, they put the votes out, and do it at the last minute where no one sees it, and it falls under the radar, and then it gets locked and gets paid out.
Yeah, I mean, so the only thing I could think of as maybe a potential solution, which I got some heat for posting, even though I was just wanted to discuss it, I wasn't proposing it as a hard fork or anything, was to try increasing the curation rewards. If it's more profitable to actually upvote good posts than it would be to just 100% upvote your own spam comments, then maybe that's what people would do. You know, they're going to go with the most profitable. I don't know if it would work.
I mean,
There's a lot of discussions about going to 50-50. And there's
Indeed.
definitely some value in that where it would get people to vote more often. And the combination of going back to 20 or 40 votes a day would also amplify that as well. And that would also limit the amount of power that bid bots have on a platform. They won't be able to do $200 votes on somebody doing a $100 bid anymore. So the combination of two would help a lot too as well. But again, seeing that happen, you're talking 3 months, 6 months, if ever. The rate Steam time.
Yeah, they're not focusing on that right now, definitely.
It's all SMTs right now. That's only, which is just going to create another. It's going to make it worse. The SMTs are just going to be a bunch of whale shares, upvote tokens, and that's not even the biggest thing coming down the line.
You'll only be able to upvote posts and take the reward pool from that SMT.
I think communities will help a lot, but
So besides Yabba or Yabba Map, kind of like changing up the bot some or rewriting the Dr. Auto code and tweaking some parameters, are there other things that we can be doing? Is it like how do we both satiate the like desire of people to have a different curation distribution or help new users? Like, are there other things that we can do to improve this other than whitelists, blacklists, rep systems built in, minimizing some bets, having parameters like that? Like, what else should we put on the radar for ways to improve it?
a lot of these things brought up I've already been saying and thinking about. But one of the ones I didn't think about that did come up here that made me start thinking is right now we allow votes up to 6 days, 11 hours. And I do that purposely to give everyone as much time as possible. But I'm actually starting to rethink that, thinking that that may be a bad thing, and maybe we need to do what Booster does and limit to 5 days. And they did that to avoid refunds and avoid confusion. But I'm thinking that actually might be a good way of curbing some of the abuse, because a lot of the abuse is done in the 6 days, 8 hour range, and that'll make it more difficult for them to do that. And it'll give more time for it to get flagged. It's not going to stop commenting, but we don't do comments, so that's not a problem. But that's probably the biggest takeaway I got from the far. That's something that may be a beneficial thing to do.
Flagging can be done till the 7th day, till the last day, minute, or?
What's that?
Flagging can be done till the 7th day. Like, you have a 12-hour window where you can still flag.
Yes, you can still flag. You can't just upvote. But the problem is most people don't see it. Once they see it past the 6 days, 12 hours, they stop paying attention. I think 3 days is a little bit small, but I mean, I see what you're saying, and if you're trying to curve it, but I think it's kind of a little bit of both.
TopKnot has a suggestion of only one bid per day. I know that you can just pretty easily make alt accounts so that we would really just make it so that more sophisticated shit posters could keep bidding than the less sophisticated shit posters. So maybe that's a way that we can help.
It will not. A spammer will think more to do a spam than to do a real good content. That's the problem. Too much energy, like to copy and plagiarize and then run it to a spinner, than to write by themselves the post. That's the problem. They put too much energy in thinking, and I think they will open 3, 4, 5 more accounts, and it will be easy. There are big whales that open the second account and don't vote themselves, and they vote the second account.
What about like directly integrating Steam cleaners into running a bid bot, and possibly also including something like a word minimum or a minimum word count before the bots would actually vote on something?
I thought about doing a word minimum for a few things, but we never did that or whatever. But I think a lot of the posts that are crap are just a single image. But it's very easy to add more words. It's not going to be a hurdle because all they have to do is links to their old post and all kinds of things. There's always anything you do, there's going to be a way to get around it. That's the problem is no matter what we do, they're going to get around it and they're going to basically take advantage of it. The exploiters don't move as slow as what it takes. Like it'll take time for us to make those fixes. They'll get around those fixes way faster than it will take to make those changes. Same thing with Steam. To fix these problems, they'll make changes. It'll take months or a year, and they'll get around those problems within 20 days, if not 7 hours. So they're always going to be able to move much faster than we can. And they'll find a way to abuse it, like multiple accounts in multiple bids and all that stuff. They're going to get around those things as well.
Well, that's part of the reason why I like a whitelist idea, or really just rep, right? If you can limit bids above $2 to only accounts that have a certain number of rep, then that might be a way to go keep those shit posters from either getting started, or even after they get started, they're going to run into like maximum bid limitations.
The rep system is very broken, though. That's the problem. It's easily gamed in both directions, and it's not a very reliable source of whether an account is reputable.
Look at Artul. Still has 69 reputation or 64.
And
or
he's
something.
blacklisted on Minnow Booster for a while now. So, I mean, I think a blacklist is a much more powerful tool set than using rep. But to me, for me to use a blacklist, I have to be 100% sure what's on that blacklist is actually blacklisted and not false positives.
We inserted the blacklist. We don't care if somebody will be taken off out of. Okay, there are other bitbots. They can go to other bitbots, but we just spoke with Patrice. Yeah, we insert the blacklist. Everything that is blacklisted by them, it's blacklisted by us. They can use other boats. So we don't care about it. Okay, we lose maybe one customer, but we keep Steam it clean by this way. Yeah, it sounds harsh, but the amounts of accounts that are coming every day, it's we don't care about one or two spammer that is on the blacklist or might be not in the blacklist. Okay, if he got there, he will have to do with Steam cleaners, and if he gets off the Steam cleaners list, he will get also from our list. But usually Steam cleaners are doing a good job, and I'm not saying Cheetah, but Cheetah that is doing upvotes. Like you have they upvoted also the Boomerang post, which we do the creation rewards, and we just modify it to be the table. Oh, we just votes, and yeah, they have to deal with Steam cleaners. If Steam cleaners say they're okay, they don't plagiarize, they don't copy, they don't spam anymore, they can use the bot. Till then, we don't care about it. Like we want to keep Steam clean. That's the main issue, like quality clean. Yeah, Claiborne, we understood it. We are trying also to get the broken system out. Oh, we are just getting you 100% on some of your comments up there.
I agree. And the thing I see is you get rid of the bid bots, the problem still exists. 80 to 90% of Steam it is spam or plagiarism or content theft or low effort content. And that's the root of the problem.
That's not the bitbots' fault. Bitbots maybe rise also. I think bitbots also rise the value of Steam because investors see it. Okay, I can use this amount of money that I have on the side. I see it's growing. I can use it, and I don't want to cure it. Yeah, curation. Like there was a little bit some lines before. Some guys suggested a curation slider in the next hard fork, like to implement a curation slider, and you can decide on your post if you want to take all the rewards for yourself or tier 75, like take only 25% of your post. That will be a really good incentive for everybody to get back to curation.
And the problem is, even if that was okay, that's what we're going to do. That's going to take a while because it's not going to happen hard fork 20. That's for onboarding. That has 3 fixes. It's kind of abandoned now because it's in favor of SMTs now, which is hard fork 21, which is still going to be a ways away. So you're talking hard fork 22, which you're talking 3 months, 6 months at the minimum to see that. So
And
this
Steve-
problem isn't going away anytime soon.
So one other thought that I saw was implement like a slightly modified version of upvote and downvote, where you could have reward, which would be an upvote and a actual like curation vote. You could have upvote, which is just this is a good post and I like it, but you're not providing a reward. You could have downvote, which would be I don't like this content, and lastly, you could have flag, which would be not only downvote it, but also use my voting power to go remove rewards. So if that, something like that might actually make for helping with content discovery, and maybe then you could start looking at the content not by how much money it's earning, but by how many separate individuals liked it, maybe. I mean, maybe that just gets to a land where bots are providing little upvotes to posts or something. But that was one of the thoughts that I had.
On consensus change, I mean, that could be a front end. There could be a front end, a fork of condenser that its own trending algorithm, based on something different than value, which might be interesting to try.
Well, we're at 3:11. We're over an hour now, so I think I don't know. Let's give this another week or two, and then try to reconvene and see if any programming changes have changed, if any news in the platform has changed. Maybe we could start looking at other tools, or maybe we start collaborating on a tool that kind of gets at a variety of the addressing the concerns the best we can within the current hard fork.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks
But
for setting us up, Aggroed.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, would you guys participate in another one of these? Do you feel like this is helpful?
At least for the audience, I think it was helpful that they see that we are not smoking cigars, bastards in a dark room.
I think they still think that, but sure, I'd do another. It was good to talk to you, Matt. I've never actually talked to you. We talked time, but
Yeah, same here.
never actually heard your voice.
Yeah. Also, I talked a lot with Matt at the beginning when the tool was on. I said, okay, as a boat, being in a boat involved, it's not that good, but I think it's a very good tool for Steemit. They promote it also.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's made for the users of the bots, but obviously I want to do right by the bot owners as well.
Yeah,
All right.
I've always supported it, even though it's definitely hurt a lot in a lot of ways. But it also has a lot of good things, and I've always supported your tool. I've always promoted it, even though it's counterintuitive to the business, but it helps being transparent. And that's something that I've always been about.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right, guys, let's call this quits for now. I'll try to reconvene. I guess let's do this sometime in January.
Just because the holidays and everybody will be off and stuff like that.
Yep. So maybe like the second or third Saturday in January, and when we get a little closer, I can go put out another announcement. I'm sorry that I'm not in the best geographic position to host this. Sorry for some of my background noise, but I deeply appreciate you guys coming, and hopefully this is a discussion that can add some transparency to the struggles of the BidBot owners, some of the concerns of the users, and putting this whole thing into perspective. I think that might help some people ease their concerns or frustrations about this thing. So I look forward to hosting more of these. I appreciate your time. We have like 10 different time zones represented in this room. And thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, meeting adjourned. So Rondon, not Rondon Sun, but Rondon, if you want to go